Let's talk a bit about the reshuffle. I mean, we learned in 2017 that when it came to election campaigns, Mrs May couldn't organise them for toffee. We've now learned already in 2018, when it comes to cabinet reshuffles, I mean, it is the proverbial piss up in a brewery, isn't it?
I completely disagree with you, Andrew. What we've had is a new cabinet that is focusing on the Prime Minister's priorities, particularly housing, social care. We've got new female members of cabinet, which are fantastic to see.
You haven't got any
really
more.
Good colleagues. No, but we have some fresh faces, and let's be very clear, what the Prime Minister was setting out to achieve was to improve the pipeline of newer, younger members of Parliament who are incredibly diverse, many more women.
No, I take that at the lower levels, you've got more diverse, but look, you say this is it's not a new cabinet, because the big beasts haven't changed. We perhaps even include yourself in that. There's no more women than before in the cabinet. There's no change in the racial diversity of the cabinet. There's actually a net loss of one LGBT cabinet minister, Justin Greening. There's actually fewer from comprehensives. Fewer non-Oxbridge. How is this a new cabinet for the 21st century?
But I think that is to miss the point. The cabinet is, of course, a very core part of government, but so too are the Whitehall teams. And at the junior ministerial level,
not change more?
Because you do need to give people the opportunity to get some experience, to understand the machinery of government. We've got some fantastic new people into departments who are now at Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State level, at Minister of State level.
Just not in the cabinet.
No, but the point is they are very much integral to policy development, to policy thinking, to new ideas. And of course, the next step is with that experience, they then will be looking at cabinet posts.
Well, some of them have been around for quite a while.
No, but I don't think you should just look at the cabinet and judge the reshuffle just
Andrea
on that.
Leadsom, you mentioned the cabinet in your first answer to my question. You mentioned the cabinet, not me. So I told you what had changed in the cabinet, which is very little. What does it say of the Prime Minister that she wasn't strong enough to move her health secretary?
I don't think that any of us know exactly what happens in those conversations. I think
no, we do. She tried to move him and he said he wouldn't go.
Jeremy Hunt has been doing an incredibly good job in health.
So why did she try to move him?
Determined to take on the challenge of resolving social care. Great news that we're all living longer, but nevertheless the challenge of social care is added to his role. I don't know that she tried to move him.
You don't? You must be the only person in the country that doesn't. Where have you been?
I think the press have certainly speculated on that, but that doesn't mean...
Downing Street and Mr Hunt's people have briefed the press. That's why they're saying it. Did she try to move you?
I had a very brief and very pleasant and cordial conversation with the Prime Minister where she told me there's a lot of important work to do and she asked me to stay in my job and I told her I was delighted to do so. So she
didn't mention moving you?
She did not.
Were you nervous that she might? Because you were tweeting a lot beforehand. You were sort of playing for a position, weren't you?
No, not at all. I was perfectly relaxed about my position.
All right. On the lower ranks, the minions, if I can call them that, there is a big change in the diversity. And these will probably be the Tory cabinet ministers of tomorrow. Does that worry you?
No, I think we should welcome any increase in diversity at all levels within government. However, you've raised the points already, Andrew. In terms of the cabinet, that's not the case. If you compare that to our shadow cabinet, which has 50% women, a range of ages, and then people from across BME groups as well. So it is quite a difference. And again, your point around a shambolic reshuffle is absolutely well made because, you know, we had Chris Grayling as the chairman, then he wasn't.
Well, that was a good Tory headquarters.
It's still shambolic,
they're still trying to get to grips with social media, I'm told. or the quill pen. I'm not sure they quite mastered that.
But the point that Andrew's just made around Jeremy Hunt doing a good job and being retained in his position. I mean, look at the... I'm sure
we'll come on. Let me stop you there, not because I wish not you to talk about that, but we're coming on to it, as you would expect us to do.